Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Tonight we have a late night insight video on an Amouage, and I've been on a kick running through these Amouages that I pretty much skipped over whenever Christopher Chong left, and I was seriously like in mourning at his leaving of the company of Amouage. And when the new guy came in, I was like, nope, not buying that, not buying that, not buying that. And then I blind bought Boundless, and I was like, well, that was a mistake. Not buying any more Amouages. But I've come around a little bit on Boundless. I'll review it one of these days. But today we're going to review a fragrance that I smelled in passing, and I said during my last video, Meander, which I thought this one was just a little bit better. And the more I wear it, the more I think it's even just a little bit better than that. This is called Enclave by Amouage, of course. And this came out in 2020, and it's part of that Renaissance collection, which I've now reviewed it's about to be 3 out of the 4 from that collection. I reviewed Ashore, that was by Mackenzie Riley. I reviewed Meander, which was also by Mackenzie Riley. And Meander I was very rough on. I was a little bit harsh on Meander, and rightly so, to be fair. I think it deserves to be beat up a little bit. Meander was not a very good perfume, not worthy of an Amouage. This one is done by Julien Rasquinet. And Julien Rasquinet is an IFF perfumer, and he is a gentleman whose name really resonates with me. When I see his name on a fragrance, I take it very seriously, okay? And the reason is that I really like his style, okay? He is a perfumer who went to the Middle East. He went to go live in Dubai, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and he learned sort of Middle Eastern style perfumery. And he ended up coming back and doing stuff for the French houses. Sometimes he does stuff in the Middle Eastern style still. Like, for example, this is one of my favorite Julien Rasquinet fragrances, The Moon by Frederic Malle. He also did, which it's just right here, so I'm just going to grab it. Sorry. Apologies. He also did this little bad boy, which I'm going to review on the channel very soon. This is called Rare Fidelis by the house of Histoires de Parfums. And many people actually compare these. They're both oud creations, but they're different. Trust me, they are different. I think I like the Moon just a little bit better, but this is a damn good fragrance. This has a very interesting oud coffee-like accord. But Julien Rasquinet is a very heavy user of ambery, woody amber materials, let's say, because he likes making stuff in the Middle Eastern style. So the first thing I'm going to say about pretty much any of Julien Rasquinet's work, well, that's not true. I take that back. That's not fair, because he has done stuff for Creed. He did Royal Oud, and that smells sort of like a cedary, natural type smell. So not all of his stuff is just amber wood explosions, but being an IFF perfumer, he has access to all of these either captive molecules or, let's say, IFF creations that maybe other perfumers don't have access to, okay? And to be fair, I think he uses them very well. Like, I think the ambery, woody materials that are used in things like the Moon, I think he did a very good job. I think this is about as good as you're going to get, to be honest with you, as far as these type of molecules go. And I don't hate them. I am very lucky in that regard, in that they don't put me off. I'm not like a hound dog looking for one molecule of an amber wood, and I'm like, out. I know that they're going to be in some of these modern creations, and I've come to appreciate that, okay? So today we're going to talk about Enclave. Now, this is the 3rd time I've had a chance to wear this to bed. You can see I've put a little bit of a dent in the sample that Allie sent to me. Thank you, Allie. And yes, these are legitimate samples. They're not official Amouage samples, but I trust what Allie is sending me is the correct thing. Somebody on my Meander video was like, did you get like just some contaminated sample in your... I mean, I'm like, come on, dude. No, these are legit. And I've smelled this at a store actually as well. So this is not just the 3rd time I've worn it. I smelled it in passing at the store. When I smelled it in passing, I was like, not really my thing. And I just completely skipped it. But now that I've had a chance to wear it on skin, and I will tell you this, you will smell this, not just if you wear it to bed like I do, you'll smell it the next morning. In fact, and when you scrub it off, when you take the loofah or soap or whatever the hell you use and you scrub the shit out of it, and you get out of the shower and you're off to work hours later, you'll still smell it on your hand or wrist. That's how strong this stuff is. And that's what those amber woody materials do. So The third out of this Renaissance collection, the only one from the collection now that I haven't reviewed, is called Crimson Rocks, which I've actually talked about on the channel, I think in an Amouage live stream, and I did like that one. Crimson Rocks and Enclave are the two strongest from this Renaissance collection, if you will. So let's talk a little bit about Enclave. So it came out in 2020. It's spearmint, cardamom, cinnamon, and pink pepper in the top, with patchouli, frankincense, rose absolute, and vetiver in the heart, with amber extreme, saffiano, and labdanum, okay? Both of those two ingredients outside of labdanum in the base are trademarked IFF ingredients, and we'll talk a little bit about what those two things are here in a minute. So, from first spray, I'm going to tell you there is some good and there is some bad, okay? So, the number one thing that puts some people off with this fragrance is that it is a spearmint scent, okay? But one of my criticisms about Meander, for example, is I thought Meander was pleasant. It was nice, kind of like shit is a four-letter word. Nice can be a four-letter word sometimes, right? And I said that doesn't smell like an Amouage. Meander doesn't smell like an Amouage. This one, Enclave, smells like an Amouage to me. It smells like it's at least gearing towards an Amouage, all right? The steering wheel is being turned towards an Amouage. And it's because with that spearmint comes spices and smoke, okay? So there's frankincense in the heart along with this spiced combo, which, to be quite frank, I have a hard time picking out. You know, many of these modern releases, they want you to just be able to pluck every single note. Oh, there's the cardamom, there's the cinnamon, there's the pink pepper. This one, the spice combo just feels like some sort of a blend to me, although sometimes cardamom kind of slowly peeks its head and then pops right back down and just bunches into the spice. But the spearmint is what most people talk about in this scent. It is a minty, spearmint heavy scent, okay? And the spearmint has pros and cons, okay? So number one con to most people is the spearmint, because sometimes spearmint can come across to some people as toothpastey or as like chewing spearmint gum, okay? And this one actually does feel that way to me in the very opening before everything else kind of comes along and envelops the scent along with it. When you first spray and you get a lot of the spearmint up front before the spice accord can really join, this does smell kind of toothpastey / spearmint gummy to me, okay? But that goes away in a little while, and I'll explain why I think it goes away. It goes away, the spearmint to me starts, as it dries down, it starts feeling less and less like a proper like spearmint toothpaste / gum note. And what it starts feeling like is it starts feeling like a fake spearmint note. Now, I don't mean fake as in fake. I mean fake as in just like the amber note in the base is fake. Well, it's not fake, but it's amber extreme. It's let me read you what IFF says amber extreme is. For those of you who are really interested in a little bit of background, listen to this. So this is direct from the IFF Naturals website, or whatever they call it. It says, the background on amber extreme. The discovery of amber extreme in 2001. So 2001 this thing was discovered. And what's funny is there's a great article Rich Mitch sent me, and the author of the article compared these type of amber woody materials, amber extreme being a perfect example, to autotune. How autotune was originally in the music industry supposed to just sort of clean up maybe when a vocal wasn't exactly right. They were just kind of supposed to slip it in for a second to fix it and take it away. And now there's just entire songs where all they do is sing directly into the autotuner. Like, it's not what it was supposed to be for. Same thing with these amber woody materials. They were not supposed to be what they turned into. They turned into a shortcut. And so all they do is they stick these amber woody materials in there. They're cheap to reproduce. They make the fragrance just project like a mother and last like a mother. And this thing, the tenacity on this, the projection on this isn't as loud as it could be. But the tenacity on skin of this stuff, my God, even on skin, I couldn't imagine. If you get this on your clothes, it's probably going to be there for half a year. I mean, 5 wash cycles before it comes out, right? It's that kind of material. But listen to how IFF made this. Represents a triumph of structure, odor, relationship, intuition. It was a serendipitous discovery that manipulating galbanum molecules into an ether moiety could lead to molecules with an amber odor. Pursuing this idea on diverse backbones, our scientists identified a plethora of new molecules. The insights gained from this unique structure-odor research led to the discovery of Amber Extreme, a uniquely powerful amber woody molecule. It is powerful, okay? With expertise and perseverance, our chemists and process engineers developed a commercially viable process for Amber Extreme. A new star was born. And the quote of why they love it is, "The power of Amber Extreme is like nothing else." And that is absolutely 100% true. So the reason why they say they love it is the exact reason why some people hate it. And the reason why I'm saying that some people hate the spearmint note is the exact reason why some people love it. Because the spearmint note almost feels like it is going along naturally, and then all of a sudden the Amber Extreme comes and kidnaps the spearmint note and is like, "You're coming with me, boy," and takes the spearmint note away. And the spearmint note is just, you know, screaming bloody murder as it's being kidnapped and being whisked off the scene. The spearmint note just starts smelling fake, just like Amber Extreme is supposed to smell like amber, but it's a, you know, triumph of structure, odor, relationship, intuition. So too is the spearmint note. It starts to feel fake to me. It doesn't feel like a real spearmint note. I saw one person compare it to like a candy or a chocolate or something like that, and there is something that just makes it, maybe it makes the spearmint note just feel coated. Maybe a better explanation to me than a candy would be like a coating. Like, think of a coating on an M&M. Imagine Amber Extreme just coating the spearmint note and not allowing it to break through that membrane of Amber Extreme coating. It's still in there, it's still spearmint, but you're not smelling it the same way, right? Very similar to how the spearmint note reacts in Enclave to me. So the other thing that you will notice as this fragrance continues to dry down, and this is the part that's actually very interesting to me, is there are some notes in here like patchouli and rose absolute and vetiver, but honestly, I don't really get everything in here. Look at the color of the bottle. The color of the bottle has this, like, it's almost like a color you would never find in nature, right? There's just this, it's actually a perfect color for the fragrance, but they were trying to be like cutesy and create some color for the bottle that no Amouage has ever made. But really, they created a perfect representation of the fragrance because the color of the bottle just looks fake to me. It just looks like some fake Sherwin-Williams paint that, you know, it doesn't look like a natural color, right? And so it's actually a really good representation for this, because the other thing that you're going to get as the fragrance continues to dry down, and if you focus on it, it's all you will smell. I'm telling you, it's because of this, how strong these captive molecules are. But there's another captive molecule, or I keep calling them captive. I don't know if they're captive or just IFF creations or what, but it's called Saffiano. And Saffiano is actually a trademarked IFF ingredient that has only been used in the entire universe of perfumes, according to Parfumo, in Enclave. Excuse me. I don't know why I keep saying Enclave. Let's stick with Enclave. So Saffiano is sort of, if you're familiar with leather making, all right, like if you're a leather fan, the idea of Saffiano leather is that it's a genuine calfskin leather. It's not fake. It's not faux leather. It's a genuine calfskin leather that has been treated with chemicals to give this cross-hatch finish, all right? The treatment makes the materials more durable and water-resistant, which is why it's so popular among those looking for high-quality products. Problem is cost. It's extremely expensive to do. You only find it in the top-quality leathers, the high-end Italian leathers, the Salvatore Ferragamo $1,000, you know, wallets or something like that, right? So I think Prada has a version of it for their leather that's supposed to give it like a waxy finish, and a cross, like it looks like the leather is being crisscrossed, is basically what it looks like. And it's a nice look. I prefer full grain leather myself, even though it doesn't look as fancy. I think that's just cooler, because now all of the high end, you can go to any, you know, if you have 20 grand, just go to any high-end shop and get some Saffiano leather, and they all kind of look the same. They look nice, but they just have this fake feeling to them. Even though they're real, they just feel fake. And so I don't know if it's true or not that the Saffiano note that's trademarked by IFF is supposed to be at least I think it's trademarked by IFF. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is supposed to be a leather like ingredient. Kind of the same way Amber Extreme is supposed to be amber. I think Saffiano is supposed to be an example of some sort of a chemical compound they created that's supposed to smell like leather. And once you smell that, you will get this very strange leather accord. And to make it even stranger is the spearmint. Because remember, the spearmint's been kidnapped by Amber Extreme, okay? Amber Extreme is a goon, kidnaps spearmint, and is taking it along for this ride. And somehow, the spearmint note, which you would think would just go the hell away, does not go away. It really lasts into the dry down, but it smells nothing like any spearmint note you've ever smelled. It just smells like a weird fake. It smells fake, just like the color of the bottle, fake. However, the damn thing has grown on me. I will tell you that. I will admit it. Although I don't want to admit it, I will admit it. The damn thing has grown on me. I think the vetiver gives a little bit of a woody touch to the fragrance. And the labdanum gives a little bit of a, it helps with the natural amber smell of Amber Extreme is what I think. And like I said, the spices just feel, everything in the fragrance just feels, you know, if Julian Rasquinet ever did an interview and he came forward and said, guess what? There's no cinnamon in here. There's no cardamom. There's no pink pepper. But there is this special spice extreme blend that IFF created. And I just put a bunch of that in there along with the spearmint. I would not be surprised one bit, okay? Because that's what it just feels like to me. Everything feels like it was just made in a lab. And yet, Julian Rasquinet knows how to use these ingredients in a way where it doesn't smell cheap and off-putting. Like if you've listened to me talk about brands like Unique Luxury, is it Unique? I forget, with the stupid 2 E's and the apostrophe, or I mean, just smells like they literally just took Amber Extreme and dumped it in a bottle and they're like, here you go, that'll be $500. Some of these brands just don't know. They're using perfumers who I don't think know how to use these materials, because they are very, very potent materials. And apparently the tiniest drop goes a long way. That's why these houses love it so much, because it is so cost effective. All they have to do is put the tiniest drop of this very cheap to make material, and the fragrance explodes and lasts forever. Forever. After I take a shower tomorrow and I scrub this 12 hours later, I'll still be able to smell it. It's that strong. But it doesn't put me off. There are some ambery, woody materials where I'm like, nope, that's super cheap. Can't deal with that shit. This, even though a lot of people give Amber Extreme a bad name, I think Julian Rasquinet used it in such a way here where I like it. Okay, I do. I like it. Would I buy a bottle? No, absolutely not. I would not buy a bottle, mostly because I'm not supporting the Fishman's work with Amouage. Although, as far as the Fishman's work goes, I think that this is probably the best of this Renaissance collection. This or Crimson Rocks. One of those two are the best, in my opinion. But it's interesting, and I think Julian Rasquinet sort of, you know, made it interesting. And it's very modern also. That's the other thing, is I have to say, because it has all these type of materials, it smells very modern, you know, like a mansion, like a glass house mansion, you know, a very modern built mansion versus kind of an old-timey house from hundreds of years ago. They may both cost $10 million, but the new glass house mansion looks very modern and chic. This feels like that in a perfume. Feels very modern. Youthful exuberance, right? The spearmint gives a little bit of that as well, but Julian Rasquinet's use of these captive, or whatever you want to call them, IFF, what would you call it even? An IFF ingredient, fragrance ingredient. I guess he's done a very good job using these in a way where they smell professionally done. I think if you had to have these type of materials in your fragrance, like if you were like, we're gonna make a fragrance this way, deal with it. I can't think of anyone better than Julian Rasquinet to make these type of fragrances. I think he does them very, very well. They are powerful. Something like the Moon, this is one of the strongest fragrances in my collection. But I just love the way, that it's all blended. I love this fragrance. So I'll review it one of these days. And same goes for Rare Fidelis. So anyways, that's just sort of a late night ramble, late night insight on Enclave by Amouage. So if you have experience with Enclave, let me know. Let me know what you think of what's been going on with Amouage as everyone else is doing their free Jubilation 40 or DF40 reviews with their free bottles. I'm out doing the 3-year-old stuff off of a little sample that some people in my audience think is probably contaminated. Anyways, just a fun late night review. I've enjoyed doing this. Thank you, Allie. Thank you for sharing. I enjoyed getting to know Enclave as well. And if I ever had a bottle, I'd probably wear it. I don't think it's a bad scent. But I just wouldn't spend my money nowadays for this type of perfume is all. But thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the comments. Cheers. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.